The fast-growing industry affecting so many, and experts argue it's just the beginning. The World Economic Forum predicts by 2025, 85 million jobs may be displaced by automation and technology, but it could also create 97 million new jobs better suited for an AI-led industry. So let's break it all down. In studio is CEO of Rebrand Cities and founder of Prompt Camp, Hajj Flemings. And over Zoom, we're joined by professor of the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, Dr. Marcus Collins. Thanks a lot for joining us both this morning, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I want to start with you, Hajj, and let's talk about the labor force. I mean, whenever AI comes up, everybody automatically goes to, how is this going to affect my job? It's my job I'm worried about. How do you see AI affecting the labor force, or how is it already affecting it?
Well, it's already affecting the labor force, right? It's something that has been with us even when we didn't realize that it was. But I think that we have to realize that we're moving towards a time of intelligent co-creation, where we're going to have the human component and the AI-like component. So even if you think about a photographer, how many photographers today shoot photos and share them without using Photoshop or without using some type of enhancement? So it's already here, but I do think that we are going to have to really figure out, how do you operate in the presence of it, because even Elon Musk is not going to be able to stop AI.
Yeah, and that's amazing. He can stop a lot of things. I got a feeling he also begins a lot of things. So you're saying that even though AI is going to be around and be part of our lives, you think there's going to at least be a human component that needs to kind of help guide it?
So yeah, so if you think about it, the computer can't dream. If you think about the music that's going to be created, there's no soul that's connected to the computer absorbing information from the internet, and it can create beautiful stuff. So I think there's a human aspect of it, but is it going to displace jobs and create new ones? Absolutely, and we have to prepare to be where the ball is going to be and not where the ball is at. All
right, Marcus, let's get a professor's perspective on things and AI's impact on the classroom. I know the first worries were that, students are going to be able to whip up essays and all that kind of stuff. But from your point of view, what is maybe the largest concern?
Well, I think that there's a lot of trepidation when it comes to generative AI in particular, because they feel that that's going to replace students' scholastic skill display when it comes to submitting papers. But what we know about AI right now, just where it is right now, generative AI right now, like, it is wildly average, and while the academia, the academy are worried about, plagiarism, worried about students not doing the work, that what they're producing is like C- level work, right? AI is like wrong 50% of the time, right? So this is not great. So I don't think it casts as much of a threat as it does an opportunity. I mean, anytime there's a chance to subvert doing work, to go the path of least resistance, there's going to be students who are incentivized to do that. But by and large, the output of generative AI today doesn't cause as much of an issue to academia as we think. I think the biggest challenge is ensuring that the skill set that students are typically get in the classroom is also being complemented by, to Hajj's point, what will be growing new jobs and your ability to understand AI and leverage it in the work that you do. So it's really about pairing what might seem like a threat today to enable students to be contributors to society tomorrow.
Yeah, if I was back in school, C- wouldn't really pique my interest. A C+, I might go with the AI, but a C- definitely not. So, Marcus, you kind of touched on this. What benefits maybe do you see AI of having in the classroom, or maybe opening students' eyes to in the future?
Well, AI does what technology always does. It extends human behavior. That's what tech is. It's the extension of human behavior. One scholar named Marshall McLuhan would say that the glasses are extensions of the eyes, the wheels are extensions of the feet, clothes are extensions of the skin, cameras extensions of the memory, social networking platforms are extensions of our real life social networks. So we think about tech, in this case AI, they're extensions of what we would normally do. And we're using AI already, like chatbots that we use for customer service, that's AI. Generative AI provides the same sort of stimuli to creativity as well, to creating works. Now, just like in the music industry where I came from before I became a scholar and started writing books, there was a lot of push in technology when it came to music, right? Session musicians who played drums hated drum machines because they weren't real drummers. Well, sure, but the technology enabled more people to create. right? Before hip hop was embraced, people thought that hip hop wasn't even real music. They said that hip hop was borrowing other people's music and putting things on top of it. It was challenged by the traditional institution. But you mean to tell me that Dr. Dre isn't a musician? You mean to tell me that Q-Tip isn't creative? It's ridiculous, right? They use the technologies to help us extend what's possible today. And when done well, the best drummers become the best drum programmers on drum machines. And the same thing goes here. The best practitioners today who understand the technology will be ahead of the curve with people who don't have the basic skills but are learning the tech to sort of subvert those things. I think the same thing goes in the classroom as well. If we could teach students today to use these technologies to extend what they can do in the current for the future, man, that's it's full of opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, of course, Dre's a musician. Come on, he's a musician. I mean, Def Leppard, British rock bands, had a one-armed drummer for 30 years, so they must be using some AI there as well. Hajj, I want to kind of change the conversation to Chat GPT. The FTC has launched an investigation into some consumer protection issues. So I'm kind of curious, what do you think this means in terms of trusting the technology moving forward? Should we trust things like ChatGPT, or do we always have to proofread whatever they create for us, let's say?
I just think that as a human being, we need to always have a check and balance system, right? And so I don't take anything that I read on the internet at face value and not do my homework, right? And so I think it's important that those things happen. And so even the FTC, I guess, like investigation, so they actually closed that, but then there was an actual recent meeting at the White House on Friday. There were 7 tech companies that came, and Twitter was not invited. Elon was not there. But what it really showed us is that the government is trying to keep pace in terms of regulation and the technology. What we're also going to find out is that these 7 tech companies, or a small group of tech companies, are really going to be the place in terms of how they kind of govern how we interact in society, how we communicate, how we order food. All of the things that we normally do, our buying habits, spending habits, where we go and how we move, you're going to see them have a greater impact on societal behavior.
That's a lot of power for those 7 companies. You mentioned Elon Musk, probably one of the greatest minds of our time, and Twitter. Twitter recently went through a rebrand. They now have a new logo, X. They've removed the iconic blue bird. Hajj, what do you think this means for the company? What's Elon trying to do with this, in your opinion?
So if you think about Elon, this is totally on brand, no pun intended, for Elon, right? He's one of the smartest people on the planet. When he purchased Twitter, he was not trying to create a faster horse. What he was doing was creating something totally different. So what he's done with this rebranding is that he has a blank slate, and he's really trying to create a super app in the likes of Retweet or WeChat, so that you can operate and you can purchase food, you can order an Uber, you can do all of these things, and to have all of that in one central place. And so that was his goal. So Elon doesn't care how we feel about the bird that was created in 2006. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's really playing chess when other people are playing checkers, even if we don't agree with his politics or his antics or even how he approaches things.
All right, that's an interesting way to look at it. Now Marcus, do you believe maybe this is a desperation act? Twitter as we once knew it is perhaps gone. That's what you have said. What makes you think that?
I do believe that his ambitions for Twitter were far greater than just being a text-based information exchange app, for sure. But the foundational things that Twitter was built on, and the community that Twitter was able to amass over the years, is being compromised by the steps forward with Elon Musk. And I think the thing that's most detrimental here is that for people to trust an organization to be an all-encompassing amalgamation of all things we do on the internet, from building community to entering financial exchange, to sharing data, to exchanging with other companies, requires a tremendous amount of trust. And I love the definition of trust as the mechanism that absorbs uncertainty. But when it comes to Elon Musk and this thing that we know as Twitter today, which isn't what we knew of, yesterday, there's not a lot of trust there. In fact, I would argue that for any of the big tech giants, there aren't enough trust for there to be a WeChat-like object in the world. And the more unpredictable Elon Musk's behavior continue, no matter how smart he is, and he is brilliant in many ways, but also misses a lot of cultural intelligence, a lot of social intelligence, in very similar ways. That these things erode trust, and therefore people aren't willing to think about Twitter in that way. And that's what brand is all about. Because I don't think this is much of a rebrand as much as it is a diversion, right? It's like Twitter's been battling some lots of challenges over the last couple months since the acquisition, rise in hate speech, entrants like Threads and Spill that are taking away the things that Twitter left on the table because of this changes. And this is a way to kind of change the channel, right? Like was being said, change the channel. But the brand, this vessel of meaning, still remains the same, right? You could call JCPenney's JCP, but it's still, in our mind, JCPenney's. You can call Radio Shack the Shack, but it's still Radio Shack. The meaning doesn't change regardless of the veneer changes. And I think that that's something that Elon Musk is going to have to really think about. And he's built strong brands before, like SpaceX, Tesla. These are amazing brands, to Hodge's point. Brilliant thinking, but we're not seeing that manifest in Twitter because I think it requires more of exchange, or it requires interaction with the community, not sort of dictatorship in what this thing is going to be and what it won't be.
Hajj, just quickly, I want to get your idea of how does AI play into the future of Twitter?
Well, I think, even in terms of the functionality, right? If you look at like the chat bots and all of the different things, that there's going to be a lot of different features. But I think we don't even know what this thing is going to totally look like. But if you look at his company, he now has shifted, and it's more about him creating X, as a AI platform beyond just Twitter. And so his ambitions on what he wants to do and what he's creating is not just about this town square where we actually, communicate. He's really trying to compete against the open AIs and these larger companies that are going to play in the AI space. And so I think we're going to see that filter into a lot of the other aspects of what he's building.
A very interesting conversation, gentlemen. Thanks to Dr. Marcus Collins and Hajj Flemings. And we'll have a look at your consumer headlines coming up next.